There he goes again.
Yeah, baby!
My little buddy here is exceedingly excited because he just switched to Central Pacific Bank.
It's epic!
Without CPB, I wouldn't have a leg to stand on.
All the places we can go.
This is a first for us. This is the first time that we're recording a podcast in front of actual people.
This is already scary as is. So yeah, now that we have a live audience, it's even scarier. So thank you for coming out, everyone.
Hello, I'm Kolby.
And I'm Andrew. Welcome to Uncut, where we get to talk with Hawaii's top entrepreneurs, creatives, and changemakers.
Yeah, we're in our almost 2 years of doing this together. We started in 2022, and we had Zak Noyle on as one of our first guests, and one of our first guests, season 1.
Yep.
And so we're gonna call him back up to talk a little bit about PhotoCON. I know you guys know. Yay! But for our listeners who aren't at PhotoCON, just, talking a little bit about what you guys have been doing over the last few days.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me again. Really excited to be back and be here with a live studio audience. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it's been like 2 years since we talked. So how has everything been? How's PhotoCON been?
Yeah, let me just slide so I can look
Yeah,
at you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel weird just looking at you and talking, but yeah, it's been so wonderful. I mean, to be able to also follow your guys' journey and what you guys have done with Uncut, giving a platform for entrepreneurs, creatives, and just entrepreneurs here in Hawaii is such an important thing. And I think one of the biggest things before we kind of jump into PhotoCON on that, it's the community building. Mm-hmm. And as we know, and I think that like Hawaii needs that, and we need to come together. And I think working together is such a huge thing. Mm-hmm. A lot of us are all really great friends. Mm-hmm. I mean, Kolby was texting me the other day. It's like, I see Andrew every. We're friends, and we want to see each other do well. And that's a very important thing in Hawaii to remember that the community is small, and it goes a very long way in that way, and helping one another and cheering for one another. There's a lot of work.
Yep. Yeah,
There's
definitely
a lot of opportunity. And I think some people sometimes forget that, and we need to really kind of band together for that, because it's only going to help all of us with clients, projects, future opportunities.
Yeah, that's a special thing. We say it all the time. Special thing about Hawaii is that we are I think it's because we're on this island away from everybody. And, when we get to know each other, we just bring people's names up in rooms that they're not in, and support them over years, over different businesses, over different projects and ventures.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, we're always out, we see each other, so it's always definitely community collaboration over competition, and that's such a beautiful thing about the industry out here.
Yeah, you're killing it, absolutely killing it with 1117.
Thank you. Yeah, having a lot of fun, and it's a new venture still, and it's a exciting new path, and learning so much every day. And as we are, and I feel there's so much established agencies and big ones here and different things, and then a lot of companies that come outside of Hawaii in, and we have the best creatives here in Hawaii. So why bring in creatives from outside to do the work that we have many capable human beings right here, living here? Then we can retain them.
Yeah. I remember you talking about that when we first recorded, was that was the heart behind it, right? Just Absolutely. To really take advantage of the talent that is already here. And yes, the big companies can come into Hawaii, but use the people who are here, because we're more than capable. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the only way that we're going to be able to retain that talent and provide them a livable wage and, just home.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So. And it's events like PhotoCON, like we were talking outside. People want this. They need this, and it's bringing community together, learning, educating each other, and just connecting. And
absolutely. I mean, you look at it, and it was so amazing with PhotoCON this year, and I believe this is the 4th or 5th one. My dad will probably correct me if he's here, but it's amazing because we don't have much opportunity to have hands-on being here in Hawaii. We have Pro Camera, which is incredible. Love that place. Pick up a lot of gear from there. Amazing, convenient, really knowledgeable staff. But we don't sometimes get all of the crazy other tech and things like this. So getting that face-to-face with these incredible brands and companies here to see, touch, feel, and try this equipment and then talk with them and learn from them, I think there's a thirst for it. And I think it's only something that can grow very much in like experiential and different things. We're in Hawaii. It's the best place in the world. Why wouldn't you want to be able to create content here?
That's awesome. Yeah. You've been here for the last how many days?
72. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? I had work on Thursday and had a shoot on Friday, so unfortunately I wasn't here as much. I did do a talk Thursday evening and one Saturday, and we did a water workshop this morning, which was epic down at Kaimana Beach Hotel, and with Canon and Aquatech. It was a lot of fun. People got in the water with housings, and you know, those are always a little tough with the planning, logistics, and all those things. But when you see how stoked people are to capture a photo, their first time, John kept reminding them, John Hook, and he was there teaching with me, and it's like, how many people have shot in the water? Many people had never shot in the water. And then to see how stoked and happy they were genuinely, like, to create and have this, because I always envisioned in doing this, I was like, man, you know, a GoPro or iPhone, yeah, it's great, and it's what you make of it, what equipment you have. But the leap from that, of a $300 item to like several $1,000s and a housing thing, it's not always an entry-level type of thing. So to make that investment is sometimes scary, it's tough, and it's not always for everyone just yet. But putting it in their hands so they can see, I guess you're kind of like baiting and tempting them, but it's like, here, try the drone. Like, here, you know.
They can never go back.
I know, so that, you know, oops. But it gives them that entry point and gives them the opportunity to try it where you'd never get to try it until you purchased it down the road before, you know, and probably just reaffirms a lot of how much they love it or want to do it.
And being mentored by masters of the craft, right? It's like somebody once told me that having a mentor, it helps you exponentially get to a farther place so much faster, so much further in such a short amount of time. Yep. So what a gift to be able to give to them too.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's like the beauty of this, of all the people and creators. You know, there's amazing back-end staff that put this all together. My dad, my mom, Lauren, the whole team that put this together, and it's like, couldn't be done without it. And then all the speakers that came forward and did this from our community, from abroad, all these different things to genuinely teach people to learn and further their craft and how they want to do. And even if you take one thing away, totally worth it, right? And that one, and I'm sure they took many things and tips and tricks, and you know, I was just sitting in Philip's class and I'm learning things, you know. I want to go to these classes and I want to learn. I want to be inspired. I want to do these things. I don't think I'm going to be a YouTube creator, but, you know, there's the tips and tricks in the way of navigating. And there's so many things that, like, hit home in that way that, like, inspire me. And it's like, I want to surround myself with the best and be inspired by that.
Is there anyone in this room that got to go to Zak's workshop?
Other than John Hook?
Oh, here.
Nice.
What's
There
your
we go.
name? Nathan. You know what? You win a Kisa Summer Club because you went to Zak.
Are you 21, though?
Oh, are you 21? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
You
checking.
look really
Yeah,
young.
yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah. All right, we have a wireless mic for you, Nathan. Not to put you on the spot.
I know. You have 30 seconds to think about your answer.
Thanks for volunteering.
Being voluntold.
I went on Thursday and Saturday, and I think probably one of the greatest takeaways I took was being flexible but also having boundaries with your client, making sure that you know what the expectations are and they know as well, so that when a problem may arise, we can solve that issue through communication and consistent respect toward the product.
Ooh, that's
Love it.
so
He
That was so
listened.
good, yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
2 cases.
yeah.
Yeah, that was excellent.
Oh,
And
man.
you came to my water one in the morning, correct?
We dive and do the water sports, and we never really use those big gears because it's really hard to handle on below. I mean, the buoyancy alone in underwater is amazing, you know. But it's great to try one of those big ones. Someday I'll probably pick up one.
Great to hear.
amazing. All right, so if anybody went to Zak's workshops, take a case of Summer Club on the way out the door.
Yeah. No, I think those were like really fun ones. I did one on branding on Thursday evening. So something a little bit different on like, you are your brand. And we talked about, I was like, do you know what I showed all these like icons of Apple, Nike, all these things, Starbucks. I'm like, do you know what I feel is one of the most valuable brands in the world? Hawaii. I mean, how many companies portray, use that? I mean, I use it in a lot of like my content in the way, but it's like, I want to be able to tell those stories Hawaii by Hawaii and be able to utilize and do that in an authentic way and in a very respectful way. And I wanted them to know, you know, and similar to what Philip was talking about, it's like, you are your brand. So yeah, stick to like your path and create that, but it's also like, how do you kind of shape and do that of what you portray and do your content? And then we talked yesterday about working with a client, which is such a tough thing, you know, and
creating is one thing, and then like the business and working with the client is a whole different level.
Absolutely. And you know what? Talent's maybe a 50% of that, right? I mean, there are many talented people out there, but how do you work with a client? That's a huge thing. Are you a pleasant person to be around, right? Like if you're not a pleasant person to be around or you have poor communication, those clients aren't probably going to come back.
Or on the flip side, you can be really great at working with a client, but your work could be like, but still, you're going to keep getting that work, you know? If you know how to talk to them, work with them, hear them.
100%. And that's when it's like, when the stakes go up and the bigger productions and budgets and the different thing, it's like, how well can the team all work together and make that flow? And communication, again, is key. I mean, that's one thing I tell my employees all the time. I'm like, you got to take off, you got to do this or anything. It's communication to me. You're going to be late on this, anything, like communication, because we can fix all things, but without communication, I don't know those things and I won't know how to adjust or fix.
Such a simple, basic thing, but really sets you apart. Really does.
That's with everything in life, right? Relationships, friendships, all of that. Work.
Absolutely.
Communication is key.
Absolutely. Accountability. Communication,
So good. All right, so we're into 2024. Tell us about something that you're really looking forward to this year.
Well, 2024, I'm getting married, so that should be an exciting one, Lauren. So that'll be an exciting one, and she's planning and doing everything, thank goodness, because...
Oh, you lucky guy.
Oh, yeah.
That's usually how it goes.
I only had 2 requests, and they were wild ones, so it's perfect.
To have an after party?
No, I mean, yes, but...
That's automatic.
No, I had 2 requests added, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say it just yet, because they're going to be surprises.
It'll be
but it's
surprise, okay.
definitely like, oh, you need a full like rigging crew and stuff. And she's like, what? So the wedding planner was a little freaked out by me, but it's okay.
All right, stay tuned for that then.
Stay tuned for that. So that's what I'm very excited about. I have some really fun big projects this year. Commercials and different pieces and some branding things that I'm very excited about with like new developments and projects that we're gonna get to take from zero, create the entire brand identity, create uniforms, merch, everything like that, and then shoot all the brand videos. So it's very exciting to be apart from ground zero and to be able to create this entire brand identity of a physical space. So I'm really looking forward to those ones and incredible team around it with my team, and then even having Lauren a part of that. So it's been a really epic kind of journey, and she's teaches me a lot because she's a lot smarter than me on a lot of things, but she's also the US brand manager for Havaianas. And so we get to see, I get to see client side and she gets to see agency side, and we bounce off each other all the time. So I get to see what like I can push, pull, and different things, and she does the same. So that's kind of a cool like energy to work with.
Oh, that's a great dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, one last thing. When we last talked on our podcast, you were kind of just building your agency. And so, and over the course of the last 2 years, we've been able to see you do so many different things, wear many different hats. What has been one thing that you've really loved or enjoyed that you maybe didn't realize that you would?
I think video. I started shooting a lot more videos. So when the R5 came out, I was shooting probably 90% photography, 10% video, and that's completely switched in 3 years.
Wow.
So that's pretty wild. So I've really loved that side. I like editing, but I'm so damn slow. I can't do it because I don't have the damn time for it. So that's been a good learning journey. Like doing photography, like color editing, love it, can do it very quickly. Been doing it for 20
You
years,
can just
right?
do it in your sleep.
Oh
at
my
this
God,
point.
video I cannot do even remotely. It's insane and quite frustrating sometimes, but you know, that's why there's experts and specialists for those type of things.
Have a good team.
Yeah, and just kind of having a team and building a great culture has been important to me.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Well, thank you for
Thank you,
joining
guys.
us again, Zach.
Thank you for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
round of applause for
Awesome.
Zach.
Thank you.
We're gonna call up John Hook, photographer John Hook, and Brad Watanabe. We're so excited to have them. John had a really interesting class that I bet many of you have got to go to. And Brad did about 10 classes for during PhotoCON.
Yeah, they've
So-
both been very active during PhotoCon, so it's going to be exciting to hear from them. And they're both great friends. You know, we all work together. This industry is amazing. So it's going to be good to catch up and talk story. So I guess for our viewers and guests that don't know, Brad, could you introduce yourself and what you do?
Sure. I'm Brad Watanabe. I run a video production company called B-Rad Studio. Been around for about 12-ish years or so. Started on a skateboard, never really left. Still making videos to this day.
John?
I'm John. I take pictures sometimes for work and sometimes for fun.
Nice. That's a really good intro. We'll hear more about that.
John, how long have you been shooting?
I had a camera since about 1998. So first year in college, just before I got a cell phone and stuff. So yeah, it was just my cell phone back then. It was just my memory.
There were cell phones back then? Nah.
It was used like a cell phone, which is not a phone. But yeah, just been taking pictures since then, but have been doing it as a job since about 2010.
Fun. All right. So I guess what we want to talk about is your journey as a creator. So I guess we'll just kind of take turns, just kind of give us like the summary of how you went from shooting on a skateboard to running B-Rad Studios, working with giant clients like Hawaiian Airlines, and speaking at PhotoCon for like 10 workshops over the last few days.
Our first workshop started with just this idea of art versus agency and the dynamic between being an artist and then eventually building business around that. Very, very different in how you approach work. And then the second workshop was all about turning your passion into your profession. This idea of what you love, and I think more than just what you love, but what you can continue to do year after year, and turn that into something that can actually be financially good for you, good for your family, and hopefully good for some team members that you bring along the way. And then we did a workshop with Chef Robin, and we were in this kitchen showing people how we actually shoot with.
There's a kitchen behind here.
There is a kitchen
obviously.
right behind here, yeah.
That's crazy.
So, you know, we had the grill on, we had food dishes that, you know, a James Beard Award winning chef could prepare in front of people, a gift that most people don't ever get. You get to taste the food when you go to a restaurant, but seeing it in person, watching the magic come to life, nothing like that. And then our last workshop today was all about how to create a magical and impactful interview. So we kind of walked through a bunch of steps, and that's like been my journey. It's like going from becoming an artist, learning how to shoot something on a skateboard by myself in a bedroom with 2 VCRs, editing stuff till the wee hours in the
VCRs,
early
you
90s.
Andrew has no idea
No,
what you're
I
talking
have
about right now.
VCR.
All the way up to today, where we get to work with some amazing brands and team members. We get to collaborate with amazing artists from all around Hawaii. And it's just been a wonderful, wonderful journey for me.
Very cool.
John, I mean, I think he mentioned a little bit artist versus agency. You've been an artist your whole life, so like, what was that like?
I don't know. I don't know what I am. It's weird. I am a photographer, but I still can't even explain how I became a photographer. It was just a thing. I just love to do this, you know, since I was young. But bring it back to PhotoCon, kind of like all I really wanted. I did the same talk over and over again, not a bunch of different talks. But all I wanted to do was talk about how fun photography is, and just to get the spark back in people. Because, you know, when I got into photography and when I started paying attention to other photographers, honestly, I kind of thought a lot of photographers were like dingleberries and doo-doo heads. Like, they were so mean, and like either they wanted to sell you their camera, like sell you something, or they didn't want you in their business at all. And that was kind of what I thought photographers were. So that's awesome. I just wanted to just kind of give back and just get people knowing that like it can be fun, even if you do it for work, even if you don't do it for work, to just keep doing it because you love it. And that's what I've been doing, and I just somehow been able to like live like that.
Nice.
I mean, that's the dream, right? To be able to do the thing that you love and not have to go and work a 9 to 5 and just make money off of the thing that you love. So, and I like that we have both you, John, and Brad, because I think their paths are very different. And like the path of like becoming a professional, making money off of the thing that they love. And there's so many different paths. I mean, agency, freelance, I'm doing it on the side, being an influencer.
No, yeah, I think you kind of touched upon it a little bit, but like things start as a passion, right? And you really love to do it, but then like, you know, eventually as you do it often, you do it more, you start working with clients and everything. Sometimes that passion kind of like fades away. Was there a moment for like either of you where it was like, I kind of don't want to do this anymore? And how did you get past it?
I wouldn't say it's ever turned into like I don't want to take pictures anymore, but over the years and through different types of work and hobbies, I've realized there's definitely certain things that I don't like taking pictures of anymore. You know, when I used to think I would love doing this or love doing that. So I think photography is kind of it's easy to go through the phases, and it's totally fine to go through phases, like where maybe you were first into taking pictures of stars, and then you really got bored of that and wanted to do something else. Like, that's totally normal. It's not like you're losing your passion or your skill because you don't want to do something anymore. It's just your taste changed throughout the time. But yeah.
What's your favorite? I mean, I feel like this is an obvious question. What's your favorite thing to take pictures of?
Anything in the water. So just kind of, I'm gonna go in the water for free anyway, and I do, whether it's surf or just kind of my friends hanging out in the water. That's my favorite. And then so like if a client ever needs water photos too, that's just like, it's like a win-win type of job. But right now it's just all water stuff I'm in love with.
Nice. Love that. So I started my career in LA for about 6 years, worked out there. We worked on some amazing campaigns like Super Bowl ads, like brand campaigns for iPod, for Budweiser, for all these great, amazing companies. That's how I first got my feet in the door with production. After I moved home, I kind of, not burned out from that, but my identity was so like ingrained in the work that we were doing that I felt like I was losing my own story. I felt like I was losing a little bit of Brad in my identity. And that's when I realized I needed to take a break. Worked for an agency, did IT, and started to build that passion back up for myself. So I started taking on clients on the side, and was slowly able to build up my own demo reel of sorts. But I knew that at the end of the day, I didn't want to do this as Brad, because Brad by himself will probably start to fail on his own, but will also probably start to lose steam. Will probably start to just not like it anymore. So I wanted to build a company that was able to help other people grow. And that's, I think, my greatest passion. I love making videos. I love shooting photo things. I love like working with clients. But for me, like, I've got a son. He's almost 4, and watching his eyes,
crazy.
Right? Watching his eyes light up every single morning brings me more joy than making a big, big campaign happen. And in the same way, like when we have kids come out of high school, kids come out of college, they jump into this studio, they're able to create their own project. I've got a 19-year-old right now who's like cutting stuff for Uniqlo. Pretty cool. And watching that happen is so much more interesting and like joy giving to me personally than making stuff. But by doing this stuff, we're able to give other people opportunities. Personally, that's like why I love PhotoCON, while I'll continue to invest my own heart and time into something like this, because we need it.
I love that.
Love that. All right, I want to hear from the audience and see if anybody has some questions for John and Brad. We have a bunch of stuff to give away. We got some merch from CBB, we got some stuff from Surf Camp. So if you ask a question, we'll give you some goodies. Anybody have a question? Good goodies, I promise.
Aloha, guys. Thanks for being here. My question is for both of you. You can answer on your own. Where do you see the projection of your brand and the future of your content per se? And what have your passions or work kind of have the direction of where it shifted? Or shifting, excuse me.
Question.
I think I'm gonna go one of two ways. Like, I just listened to Philip and I got real motivated. Like, I want to do more shit. Like, let's go. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put myself out there. I'm gonna do it. Or I'm just gonna disappear into a cave. I like every day's a little different. Like work-wise, I'm really just all I'm concerned about is just how in the future can I get more time, and the less value is to money now. It's more just like how much work do I do to give me this much time to enjoy my life. So whatever I have to do for work to get to that point is where I see my work going. But other than that, yes, just keep doing exactly what I like doing. Yeah, and see what happens.
Yeah. Brand is a really interesting word when you're talking about humans. Like, I know the idea of like personal brand is like such a buzz right now. Like Philip has his own personal brand that's built around his style of cooking and making stuff, which is different than even Chef Robin, right? Different, like same kind of industry, way different industry at the same time. But it's built around your name, your identity, what you look like, what you sound like. And bro, I kind of hate some of that stuff because like it makes me the center of attention, which is actually very not me. So I fight against that because I know that it's a valuable asset. There's something about Brad Watanabe that has value in the name. There's also something in B-Rad Studio that has value. So I struggle with that back and forth because in order for me to build up Brad Watanabe, I kind of have to take away a little bit of amplification from B-Rad Studio, which is my team and which is like all of the other stuff that we do. And so right now it's balancing those two, which sometimes contend with each other for my time or my creative energy. But for me, like the next 5 years, 10 years is about lifting other people up. And hopefully that becomes a part of like, if there's anything like the Brad Watanabe brand, I hope that becomes what Brad is known for more than just making cool stuff.
That's awesome. The personal brand thing is so crazy. But I have a daughter who's in the 5th grade. And I overheard her friends talking about, because they're on iPhones and my daughter's not on Instagram, but some of them are. And then one of the girls were like, "Oh, that's totally my personal brand." And they're in the 5th, they're 11. I was like, what is happening in this world?
But yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. You know, Zach was talking about it. Philip was talking about personal brand is so important. And it's kind of just like how you put yourself out there, what you're passionate about, and the kind of work that you're doing. So, I mean, I guess like what advice would you give to someone kind of like you said, like out of high school or college, still trying to find their identity or their brand, or like even just trying to figure out what they want to do in life?
For me, I would say, what worked for me was I wasn't sure for so long what the heck I wanted to do. Like,
are you sure now?
No, I'm still not. I'm like, my second dream job is working at 7-Eleven for the rest of my life. I'm almost there. I'm climbing up.
You shot the photos that though,
yeah,
so like almost there.
Halfway there. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
But it's just like, try everything, and then you'll start to realize what you end up liking. If you think you start liking something, just stick with it, even though somebody might say like, hey, the other thing is going to be more successful, or the other thing is going to be way more fun if you try it. If you think it's the thing for you, don't let anybody talk you out of what you think is right for what you want to do, because you're your own boss, really. So that's what I did. I just tried to shoot every type of different style photography and realized I kind of gravitated to more like stuff that involved people instead of like stuff and
products.
Yeah. So that's what worked for me. And then it's just definitely like not listening to haters when they're just like, don't try that or don't do that. Just do what you think makes sense for you.
If you're playing with social media right now, you know how much of a toxic place it can be if you like find your self-worth there, or if you're looking for your next like project to be like somehow inspired by like trends or by somebody else's voice, because that becomes like chasing your tail all day long. So you have to find what you love to do. Like if you love TikTok, then like go hard at that. If you love YouTube, then go hard at that. But if you're constantly chasing platforms and chasing trends, you're going to be miserable because you're constantly looking for something else to give you joy in your creative journey. And if it doesn't come from within, like you're going to end up hating it. You're going to burn out because it just gets to be a terrible, time-consuming job that you will end up hating, which is something you started off loving. Yeah.
Has there been a time where you found yourself in that though? Like, I feel like as creators, they say you need to be everywhere. You need to be on all the platforms. Yeah. How did you ever find yourself there? And like, how did you navigate that?
I find myself there all the time because our clients want to put us there. Our clients are like, okay, we need to do, like, we did the very first TikTok for Hawaiian Airlines. It was this huge project. It was this huge campaign. It was amazing fun. But then we got to learn TikTok. It's so different than creating brand content for like your website or for an email blast. It's a different audience. It's a different message. It's a different time frame. It's a different attention span. And it's not what we make. It was super fun to actually make that. But if we were in charge of making all of their TikToks, all of their Instagram reels, all of their YouTube videos, and that's a never-ending time suck for us. So we love the space that we're in, which is brand story-driven content. And it may seem somewhat monotonous to some people, but man, I love that space. It's super valuable to me personally. And so I'm gonna dwell there more than trying to chase some of the other trends.
I love that.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add, John Hook?
Oh, I don't know. There's definitely just no right or wrong way to do it when it comes to like that kind of thing. Like my social medias are just, there's no blue check mark, there's no website in any bio, there's no hashtags, there's no nothing. And I'm still working. It's working fine for me. So like, I don't know. You don't need to go like either way. Just do the same thing. It's just like, that's just the way I want to do it. So if it seems to be working.
I love that. Just block out all the noise. Do you.
Just do you. Yeah. Okay. Can we get one more question from?
We got a bunch now. We're gonna bunch now. Yeah.
When you decided that you were going to go do what you're doing now, how did you come to that decision? I know, Brad, you were working for somebody. You had a salary. You had gotten a couple of productions, but you made that move into being full-time B-Rad Studios. And John, I would assume there was some point where you left 7-Eleven, you weren't working there any longer. How did you come to that final decision? Tell me a little bit about that story.
It's crazy. So just to give context to timelines, I'm 44 years old. In 2009, I still didn't know being a photographer was a job. Didn't even know what, obviously I worked in retail. I saw marketing, I saw pictures, I saw whatever, but never even thought photographer was a job. But I've been taking pictures for 10 years since then. I just always loved taking pictures. It wasn't until I was asked through mutual friends to just assist somebody who was a photographer because they knew I liked taking pictures. Like, John, maybe you'd like to hang out with Dave for a bit on a shoot. And then when I saw it, I realized it was what I wanted to do. But yeah, it was two things. It was more, I just became aware, and I just knew that I was like, I already freaking love taking pictures. I didn't know this guy can surf every day of the week and work. Anyway, yeah, so I was like, yeah, epic job. Yeah.
I'm super Asian, so my goal was always to have a job. So I went to school, graphic design, minored in animation, and I studied to get a job. Like it was always a goal to have a career path. And even when in the late 90s, creative stuff was more of like what do you do with that? Like, how do you have a job in that space? Like, it wasn't like it is today. So I went to school in the 90s, same age as him, graduated in 97, went to school through 2001. I got a job in LA doing the thing that I wanted to do, which was making videos and doing that kind of a thing. But when I moved back, worked for an agency because it kind of burned out, all of that story. But when I started B-Rad Studio, I made sure, absolutely 100% sure that I had my wife's permission. Because there's nothing like having somebody who's your life partner say, like, what are you doing? Like, why are you risking our safety? Why are you doing this to us, to risk our either comfortability or just what we have going on? And it wasn't until my freelance work overtook my salary, compensation-wise, where I knew this is a viable option. Again, very Asian, made sure that it was like the equitable, like sound choice. But I'd been freelancing for 4 years, and I had all this LA experience behind me as well. So it wasn't just like, I hope this is gonna work. I was like, right now we have like kind of a green light, both from my wife and also from the industry, to try this. And if I'm gonna try it, it's gonna be now, before we have kids, before we have like a big mortgage or any of that stuff. And I could always go back to what I was doing if I needed to.
I remember the second thing now. I was gonna say, when I realized being a professional photographer was a job and I wanted to do it, I quit my job and wanted to do it, but I was not doing it for like many years. And I was poor, we were on, welfare, food stamps. Like it wasn't like you could just be like, if I thought of being rich, I should have just been rich. But I just knew, I realized I wanted to be a photographer. And even though I went through those years of like, this is not how I thought it was gonna be, I just knew, I love it so much. I think it can happen. I'm just gonna keep doing it.
Nice.
I love that about
Two perspectives. Yeah.
I love that about entrepreneurs. It takes a certain kind of person to take a leap like that, because that's so scary, especially if you have a wife or a family or kids, and I always say, like, when you started your business, like, you were like 16 or something. He was super young. 12. So I'm like, all the young people, I'm always like, start it now, when
make all your mistakes early, learn from it. I always tell people it's winning or learning. So if it doesn't work out, learn from it, and go on to the next thing and do the next thing. So.
But when you have a mortgage and kids,
it's different. Yeah.
And it is a whole lot scarier to take a leap like that. I still see it today though, and I'm so stoked when people make that leap. I see people in like 40s, 50s, like chasing their dream job, like going after it, so.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that during, the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And like, even like a lot of friends that we talked to, they took that leap. They had like the comfortable job, but they stepped out and they quit and they took that leap and fully pursued their passion. So it's always nice to see that.
Yeah.
I think we had a couple other questions. Yeah, right there. Oh, sorry.
Lots of hands all over the place. Yes.
Since you were both creatives, how did you navigate being creative and the business? Did you hire somebody else to take care of the business?
It's still hard, because I mean, like, if somebody asked me like, hey, we're doing a shoot on the North Shore, involves like surfing or whatever, do you think you can shoot it and how much would it cost? I was like, fuck, I can do that for free anyway. So so I mean, that always came to, because I loved it, and I was like, well, I want to do it no matter what. And so it was really hard to come up with pricing for a while. And for me, I just learned from first of all, you don't want to be the guy that's taking work from my friends. Like, if my friends are photographers, they want to make money, not necessarily if I didn't. Like, that's not their fault. But I had to ask around to find rates and be like, how much are you guys charging for this? Like, I didn't know you guys are getting paid to take a picture of these flowers. Like, oh yeah, this is the rate. And it was more not necessarily like I thought it was worth it at the time. It was more just like, okay, just being on the same page with your community will like be very helpful. That's how I approached it.
I had a paper route when I was young. I learned like you gotta do some stuff in order to get paid. And so I think that mindset from an early kid age kind of helped me always equate a task to a dollar amount. And so when you're building business, when you're trying to think about how a client is going to pay you for a thing, that grew with me. I had no idea. I'd worked for another company, never knew any of the financials, but slowly you start to kind of learn by trial and error what works, what doesn't. And quickly you start to build your own processes. And if you don't, you get buried under all of the business stuff. So building process for like how you're going to invoice, how soon you're going to collect payment, what kind of deposits you're going to require, getting your permits, getting all of that paperwork. Like you figure that out along the way. I'm hoping to launch something called getclientready.com to help like entrepreneurs, like people that are just in the industry, like know what that gap is between like being a creative person and actually knowing how to be ready for clients. Because most people don't know that. Until you sit in a boardroom with a CEO that has a certain amount of money for a marketing campaign, you can't rehearse that. But there are steps that you can do to get ready for those conversations, those calls, those like Skype messages or whatever they are. And I'd love to help people get to that point where they can be comfortable in a chair with a marketing director or a social media coordinator to be ready for client conversations. And that's all a part of the business acumen you go through. Sometimes you have great opportunities with clients, sometimes not so great, and you learn through all of that experience. But it's still the journey now.
That's so good. What's that website again?
It's coming. Getclientready.com.
Getclientready.com. That's so good. Even like what John said about, not knowing what to charge. And people are like, know your worth. And I'm like, okay, well, like $1 million? Like, yeah. I don't know. But then just asking around, like you said, and because there is sort of like a base industry rate for like different things, like surf I'm sure has, and like weddings definitely has, influencer stuff maybe has. But even to this day, I mean, I'll get a inquiry from like Marriott, and I'm like, okay, like what's your budget? Yeah. So it's good to have those processes in place though for when you get that inquiry.
And also, when you're mentioning, you don't always have to necessarily turn your creative love into your profession. Mm-hmm. Like photography and video is awesome because you can still photograph what you love for free, but still use photography for work as well, shooting something else. So it doesn't necessarily mean like, well, I'm kind of scared to turn my love into like hate because everybody says like once you start doing it, you're gonna hate it. But photography is awesome because it can still be two separate things, but one art.
We had a couple more hands over here on this side. Yeah, right here.
Hi. So I have a couple questions, but my first question is, what would you recommend for freelancers looking for paid work? Like, how would you recommend that they go about that, and like resources and stuff like that?
I'm the worst person to ask about that.
Do you really want to freelance or do you really want a job? And I think those are two different categories of learning how to take your love for something and make money for it. I think people are super duper quick to try to get into the freelance world when the best thing they can do for themselves is actually land a really good job, doing the thing they want to do where somebody else can pay them to do that thing. And then you get to learn from all of the business that business is already doing. So when you're ready to fire up your thing or you're firing it up on the side, you have all of this wealth of knowledge. And that's something you only get by working for somebody else. I think that's like the shortcut to winning for a lot of people. It seems like the longer route, but man, you learn so much valuable stuff by watching other people do it.
Ooh, that's good.
That's a good one.
Brad.
That's like a different perspective
Ooh,
too.
I'm learning so much.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
wow.
Now I want. Are you hiring?
And if they did do that and they are starting to go into the freelancer route, what do you think?
I don't know. What?
Building your community, I think. I mean, that would be like my answer too, is building your community, whether you're like working for somebody or even in the interning process or just getting to know people, coming to things like this, meeting people, just getting their Instagram, following them, comment, just especially in Hawaii, I feel like the network of people that you get to show up for and you get to partner with, and sometimes it might not even be paid stuff, but it might lead to paid stuff down the road. So,
and then when you're reaching out to the people that maybe you were thinking about freelancing for, don't pick the things you actually want to do, not just like the quantity of like, I'm going to reach out to 1 million people to see if anybody needs photos, and then you're going to get inquiries for all the stuff you didn't want to shoot at all. So just at least initially try to get something you'd want to do anyway if you get the callback and stuff.
Yeah, I think adding to that, I think the beautiful thing about social media is it's free marketing, right? Like keep creating, putting yourself out there, and then really creating work that you want to keep creating, because then organically these brands will gravitate towards your work and they'll reach out. And Philip has been doing all of this stuff, and like brands reach out, and you just continue to do that work, and it just kind of like snowballs from there.
Yeah, and the first thing, as somebody who's like had people approach them, it's like first thing we do is we go to their Instagram, look at their work or their website, so it all matters.
I'm gonna drop a different one on you too. Everybody wants to be on Instagram. Everybody thinks YouTube is the sexiest thing in the world. Jump on LinkedIn. I get about 10, 15 inquiries like, Sachi is looking for a creative director for this right now. There's a person attached to that inquiry. And go and DM that person and say, hey, I know you're looking for a creative director. Here's my portfolio. If you're looking for a freelancer, I can help you out until you find that person. There's so many people looking for stuff right now on LinkedIn. And those are the C-suite people. I always repeat that. Yep. Those are the people with the dollars that do the big campaigns. And they're the ones ready to spend. LinkedIn is the spot, not Instagram.
Yes.
Damn.
Man, I'm so inspired. I need to go fix my LinkedIn account so bad. It's been a few years.
Yes.
Question over here. Oh, yes.
We'll just use loud voice.
My question is, how do you balance what you have for your passion for photography and then doing it for a job? Because when clients hire you, they have their vision of what they want for the kind of product, so you have to please the client.
I just pretty much, whatever it costs, whatever it takes for me to at least be able to do what I love in my own time. I don't care what the client wants me to do or wants me to photograph. And even though my style is this way and they want me to shoot it that way, you have to kind of treat like the work stuff as work. That will make the passion stuff still feel like your thing. Like nobody should ever be able to take away your thing. So to me, it's like I got to do whatever I got to do so nobody can take that away from me. So, I mean, it's not really like a balance, but it does seem worth it.
That's
Nice.
good. Yep.
Brad, any nuggets?
I don't think of myself as an artist at work. I think of myself as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. We do brand stories and videos, but I take the artist part out of the equation because then it's less personal. It's also transactional. I know that a client is paying for a particular branded element for their campaign. That's not Brad's portfolio. I get the privilege of using my creative experience to help them tell that story, but that's not my art. I save my art for my stuff. And then I separate my video stuff from my photo stuff. I do my best not to charge anybody for photo work, and I don't call myself a photographer. I save that for when I go on vacation with my family. And that's when I get to just play and I get to enjoy, and that camera becomes just my memory maker. That's more valuable than trying to like win in business with that for me.
I love that.
Can you guys tell us a story about when you got to do a project and get paid for it that was so aligned with the thing that you love to do? Like, tell us about what that project was and just how that felt to be doing the thing that you love and get paid for it.
You get to do that every day.
I do. No, yeah. They're just two. Pretty much anytime somebody asks me to photograph anything in the water, I was like, awesome, that's perfect. That's what I was going to do that anyway. Like, it's so fun. I don't know. I can't say that necessarily the first time it's ever happened, but a recent one. You guys thought I was kidding, but my dream place is 7-Eleven, and I got hired to photograph all the 7-Elevens in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Wow.
I kind of, when my friend reached out with the inquiry, I texted back. I was like, "Are you effing kidding?" Because that's how happy I was. Like, I didn't know if he was serious or not. But every now and then it does happen where everything aligns, and it's just like exactly what you want to do, and you're gonna get paid for it. But yeah, that's super awesome when it happens, but it's super rare.
Did you get to drink a lot of slushies and
A little too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay for that job for the rest of my life.
That's a hard one. I think for me, storytelling is at the bottom. That's at the base of what we do with every single project, as much as humanly possible. It might not be the sexiest project that we've ever done, but this campaign we did for HMSA, we got to tell this family story and how they came through life's struggles. And when you get to share that with the world, that's powerful. More than just like beautiful cinematography or the most magnificent sunset stuff. It missed all of that. It didn't have that. But the core of the story was so just inspiring that it reaches all of its viewers in that same way. When everybody feels that same thing when they're watching it, that's what I go for. And I think we hit that for that campaign.
Nice. Real quickly, what was that story about?
This family, the Yim family, and they have 3 kids with special needs. I'll share a link with you guys later on, but it's their story of triumph and how HMSA kind of was there for them through that process.
Nice. Oh, I love that. Every now and then you get those magical projects. I'm like, how am I doing this for my job right now? I'm working with Leo Kalani Trust, and we're like going around and telling capturing kupuna stories right now from like all the islands. And I'm just like, every time I go, I'm just like, how am I doing this right now? This is crazy.
Yeah, there's always that moment where it's like, wow, this is my job. Like, I'm doing this right now, and like this is so cool to see. So it's been good.
Yeah. Well, we asked our guests this all the time. So what is one thing that people might not know about you that you would like people to know about you?
I don't know. I definitely don't want people to know more about me. Like I was saying, sometimes it's that close to being in a cave. Yeah, that's true. Maybe they don't know I'm the third person. My dad's junior and there was senior, so
John
I'm
the third.
John the third.
John Alexander Hook the third.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Did anybody else do anything creative in that line?
No, I ended it.
My mom used to pray for me all the time because I was so accident prone. She literally was like, I don't know if this kid's gonna make it through high school. So broke my tooth, broke my arm, busted legs, all that fun stuff. Broke things on like Mother's Day, soccer tournaments. I was an accident prone kid. So when my kid first busted his chin and then his teeth, I was like, oh, bocce.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Bocce.
It's happening.
Yeah.
What about another question that we like to ask our guests is like, what's a life hack? And it could be something like, I don't know,
Meditating.
sleeping 10 hours a day, meditating.
5-hour energy.
Mushrooms.
Like anything that you do to kind of help you find that balance with creativity or work or family life.
My life hack has been to at least travel to places or go to places with no cell phone service for at least a weekend.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like people. It's true. Like just turning away from everything for a couple of days every now and then is my best life hack.
Just disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've got any hacks. Still kind of a hack myself, but I love travel. I used to hate travel. I used to be like, dude, I don't want to leave this place. This place is amazing. But yeah, Japan has become kind of like the place that I go to reset. And got to take my son there for the first time last year, and that was amazing. And just being able to live life through the eyes of a child again is something that I'm learning to just embrace. Like after this, I got to go home because I haven't seen him in a while. But those types of things, like my kid is so important. My wife is so important. And if that's not taken care of, then it doesn't matter what's happening on the business side.
That's
Nice.
so good.
That's so special.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I don't know. How are we on time?
I know. I'm trying to
I'm trying
look
to
at
figure
Brad's
out-
watch
yeah,
from
yeah,
over
yeah.
here.
4 o'clock.
3
Oh,
o'clock.
3 o'clock. Oh, and
It's
we're supposed to
nighttime.
record till 3:30.
Oh, nice.
Well, we
Oh.
can wrap in a little bit,
Yeah.
but John and Brad and I don't know if Zach is still. No, he went to the other workshop. We'll hang out for a few minutes if you guys want to just like have some off-air
questions. Yeah, discussions.
But we're in a new year. We're asking everybody like, what are you guys super stoked about coming up in this year? I mean, we run hard. Like there's so much going on in everybody's lives. But what's something that you're looking forward to that might be new or a trip you're going on, a new baby?
Oh, ooh.
Me and Brad haven't talked about it yet. I'm gonna try to travel to see the
Taylor Swift.
full solar eclipse. There's like in Texas next month. I've always wanted to see one.
Wait, what is this?
The
Full solar eclipse.
solar
Oh.
eclipse
In Texas.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So hopefully I can go see that.
Why
Nice.
Texas? Is that like just
Oh
a
yeah, you know
clear
sometimes
place?
it doesn't go over, like Hawaii won't see the full thing, so it just goes right over this part of Texas. There's waves in Texas too, so.
Wherever the ocean is. Yeah.
I think kind of going back to this whole like team element of what we're doing, it's just giving more space for the team to learn so that I can step back a little bit, and not just so that I can rest and be with family and all those like pragmatic approaches to business ownership, but because I want other people to win. Like I want the team to like feel the victory of like a client being like, that was amazing, and that come from them, not come from me or come, you know what I mean? But that part of the creative process that you get to do as an artist so many times, that you want to give the other people the privilege of winning in that space. I want to provide that for more people, whether they're freelancers on our team or staff or opening up more opportunities. Like I'd love to see more people get that. It's kind of like if you play golf, that moment you get that one connection, you're like, it feels amazing. Getting people to feel that feeling is where I want to take B-Rad Studio.
I love that.
Nice.
All right,
And
last
we've
two
all-
questions.
Oh,
go ahead.
okay, now we have two more
Yeah,
questions.
yeah.
No, I love that because we've all felt that feeling. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, and everything clicks, you know? And then to be able to share that and to be able to build a team around that and to all that work that you've done to build this thing that you can just bring people along with that. So great. So, and you're such a great leader. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, one definitely look up to you when it comes to like company culture and team building and systems and all that stuff. Like, you do so much. So thank you.
Last two questions, I promise. Best advice you ever gotten and worst advice you ever gotten throughout your whole career, your whole lives.
Oh, I'll start by the worst advice I ever got was probably like, JPEG is fine, just shoot JPEG. Yeah. They're not gonna print it anyway. Don't worry about it. I don't know. The best advice, I don't know. Always carry sunscreen.
It's a good one.
Good one.
Yeah.
Very practical.
I think worst advice is probably it's good enough. Like living
good.
by that mantra is just you're never gonna get to where you want to go if good enough is like your status quo and your business, your personal brand, whatever is just always gonna be there. I think best advice. I mean, it's kind of both, right? But I think best advice is probably invest in your family. So that's a thing that's not going anywhere. Your business might go up and down, you might change things, but invest in that time. You never get that back.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, time is so valuable. Thank you
So
for sharing,
good.
guys.
All right. So where can people find you? Oh, John
John
is
doesn't
like
wanna be
the
found.
cave. Has no reception there.
Yeah, how can people find you, see your work and all that, connect with you guys?
I'm at Brad Watanabe on most of the platforms. I did buy the blue check mark because there's another Brad Watanabe, and we keep getting mixed up with each other. Even like clients mixed us up. So at Brad Watanabe on most of the places. At B-Rad Studios, the production company, and both of those domains are mine as well.
John's like, no.
I'm John. Hook. I have an Instagram.
Yeah. If you know, you know, I guess.
It's just
John
my
_Hook.
name.
Yeah,
My name is nothing special, but yeah. That's it. I don't have anything else.
All right. Well, thank you to our live audience for being
Thank
here.
you.
This is so fun. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us.
for having
if you're
us.
watching this online, please continue to follow Uncut. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, and we'll see you at the next one.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Goodies for everybody.
Yeah, we have goodies for everyone, so please come. We'll pass out these hats and bags.